word of your intentions this year? Anything fun? And speaking of intentions, mine is intentional. I want to be intentional with my time, who I'm spending it with, intentional with my choices, what I'm doing. Are they aligning with my goals? And making sure I'm giving myself enough time to rest so that I can show up my best. Anybody else want to share theirs as we're waiting?
Love it. I would like to go. Mine is
Good.
actually kind of a strong word. Dominate. Whatever you
Ooh.
do, dominate. If we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go grocery shopping, we're dominating that grocery shopping. If I'm a parallel park, I'm dominating that parallel parking.
That was,
So I'm bringing that really
I love
strong
it.
energy this year.
I love
Exactly. We
it.
we gotta go hard. Dominate.
Ooh, there's great ones. Discipline and discipline. Yes, discipline. Good one, Ashley. Ambitious. Consistency. Yes, consistency. We'll talk about that a little bit on those habits, right? Enjoyment. We have to have fun. Yes,
Mindful.
indeed. Mindful. Yeah,
Consistency is key.
it is. It is. Well, since we're on a roll with that, we will just dive in. So I may not get to see you, but I'm gonna. Oh, I am already sharing, huh? I just need to
Yeah.
minimize this screen. Oh, look at Dr. Hishaw figuring it out, I think. Oh, look at that. That was smooth, huh? Okay, sorry, sorry,
Team's
sorry.
expert now. Team's
I'm
expert.
expert. I'm team. You're gonna see me on YouTube. This tutorial will take you straight. No, I'm just kidding. You guys know, right? I can't help but the voice. It's just the pediatric dentist in me, so please forgive. But welcome to the 2023 Dream Act Achieve Goal Setting Workshop with your mentors, and we're here to serve you. We're really, honestly, guys, this is going to be casual. We're only going to be recording like the presentation part, but when we break out, and that's going to be a good 30 minutes with you and our wonderful mentors that we have here today who are going to introduce themselves to you, we won't be recording that. So I want you to really just get granular on what it is you want and let us help you. Let us help you. We get so much joy doing this for you. So just know that we are here for you and to really let's work this out. A lot of the times when we're setting these goals and intentions, you accountability is really important. So we're going to take our time and be here till we get it laid out. Sounds good? Thumbs up. I think the reactions are kind of like the same on Zooms. Okay, all right. So what do we need first? Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Everybody take a breath in through your nose and breathe out. Good. I had a lot of frenetic energy just because I was excited too. But anytime you're learning something new, it gets crazy. So I want to be grounded with you guys. We're in a quiet space. Let's have an open mind, focused mind. We'll talk a little bit about mindset. Turn off any apps or notifications. I better check mine. See, we all need to do that because we just really want you to have this time to be as productive and efficient as possible. Focused on you. You have a notebook, pen, pencil. Do you take notes on your phone app, Evernote app? I'm trying out my Remarkable. Anybody had the Remarkable thing? So that was a Christmas gift. So I'm trying to do that. Know your top three intentions you want to set for the year. So you guys already have one I saw in the chat. That's great. Maybe just think of a couple others. You might have been inspired by some that you just heard earlier. The worksheets that were previously emailed. If you still need to download it, I think if you scroll up in the chat, you should see an attachment. And if not, one of us can maybe upload it to the chat. And then your go-to calendar. I'm kind of a hybrid type person. I use my Google Cal, but I do like to have a hard paper calendar or planner because I need a whole month in the view. I like the whole year view. This helps me know if I'm on track each quarter for the whole year and all that. So we all good? Thumbs up? Good. And Dr. Golden, I can only, oh, people are in the lobby. Hold on, let me go back and admit. I was going to say, Dr. Golden, I only see you in there, so you can give me a thumbs up when I. Okay.
Gotcha.
Great, great, great. Come on in. We just getting started, so you haven't missed anything. All right. Okay. The agenda. So we're going to be here for a good 2 hours to get a little break. But of course, if you have to go, we understand. We're going to have our introductions. I'm going to give you just some of my tips that I like to share each year. We're going to go over the smarter goal setting acronyms with our mentors. Then we're going to have our 35-minute breakout room. And 5 of those 35 minutes is for you to have get some water, stretch, and then get ready to get down and down to work with your mentor on writing out your goals. When we come back, we'll share some insights if you want to share. And then we have a D.I.D resource opportunity at the end. Spoiler alert. And answer any questions we're going to have us ask us anything too once we come back from the breakout room. So if there's something you just want to ask us about practice or about residency or preparing for the DAT, that would be a great time then.
And
Okay.
it'll be a good idea to write that question down because
Mm-hmm.
it's very it's not often you get a room full of dots. So this is your opportunity to ask anything. So I would write down those questions and be prepared for that moment. I'm ready for it.
I love it. Thank you, Dr. Golden. Well, we'll just go around. Maybe I will stop so that we can see. Can everyone see each other if with my screen on, or should I take off the screen share so we can meet the mentors? Can you guys see yourselves in a gallery view?
Yeah, I think you should keep it going so they can see
Okay.
the picture.
Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Golden, you're up on my end. Do you mind just starting and then just hop on in, guys?
Sure. My name is Dr. Joshua Golden. I am here in lovely South Florida. My practice is called West Sunrise Dentistry. If any of you are on Instagram, that's another place I live at the Golden Dentist. I'm really big on giving back to the generation behind me because I felt coming up, I had no guidance. I basically kind of streamed and pulled things together. And to see all these resources that are available now, I think it's amazing. And I'm looking forward to growing the dental field by any means necessary.
Thank you. Dr. Amable, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here and thank you for having me. It's such an honor. My name is Dr. Rosa Amable. I'm a board certified pediatric dentist. I'm from New York. I'm also a clinical professor at NYU, where I have an enrichment program also. The reason why I am here to be your mentor today, and I'm super excited to be here, it's because I'm originally from Peru. I came and I had no guidance whatsoever, and my path towards dental school was a very rocky and non-traditional one. And maybe just like many of you, didn't really have any support or encouragement. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I'm here and for anybody who needs me, for any tips that you need. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Yes. And that program, can you just also mention about the research program that's happening this summer,
Yes,
please?
absolutely. So at NYU, we have three different amazing programs. One is Saturday Academy, which is for high school students, which is led by Dr. Burns and Dr. Pizzullo. The second one is Bringing Smiles Dental Enrichment Program, which is the one that I am the director. We provide clinical experience for you guys towards dental school and guidance and support throughout your application process. Through our school-based programs that we have and that I lead. And then the third amazing program that just started this year is actually a research program. It's a paid summer program at
Paid,
NYU.
paid
Yeah, paid
program.
through NYU and NIH. So it's definitely a great opportunity. I think if I was back in college, as soon as I heard, I'm like, I'm in. It's such a great
Yeah.
experience. Dr. Burns is an amazing faculty and an amazing mentor as well. So by all means, definitely sign up and go for it.
Yeah. Dr. Burns is a woman of color too, dentist of color. So, I mean, even if you don't think you want to do research, that would make you stand out so much on that dental school application. So, that's a wonderful opportunity. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely.
Is
Thank
it
you.
possible to drop a link in the chat?
Yeah, I'm going to look for it right now.
Thank
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 you.
you.
you. Yeah.
Dr. Celistan?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Morgan Celistan. I'm currently living in Boston. I am a third-year resident and the chief resident at Harvard in the Division of Endodontics. So once I graduate,
You go.
I'll be graduating at
Wait, can you say that one more time? I think it would be like, wait, what?
Chief
What did you
resident
say?
at Harvard. There it goes.
Okay. Chief. Okay. All right. Just making sure everybody caught that.
Appreciate that. I'll be graduating in May. And after that, I'll be working in a private practice here outside the city of Boston and working as a part-time professor in the pre-doctoral part of the Harvard Endodontics. And when I was coming up, I didn't have much mentorship going into dentistry, much like Drs. Amable and Golden said. And I got a lot of people telling me, no, you can't. So my goal is to be a mentor that says, yes, you can, and help you guys every step of the way.
Yay. Thank you. We did it. So can they. Dr. Worrell. Dr. Worrell, can I just share with you, everybody? We met through D.I.D, through the mentorship program. And I remember we were getting ready for our very first youth summit last year. I was like, oh, I sure wish you could come. And you were like, well, when is it? I know it was in October, and he flew to Arizona. I mean, and so that's another lesson. Just ask. You never know what you need, and there are people who want to support you, and you have been such a supporter from the get-go. Great mentor, just like everyone here on the panel. So thank you so much. Come on and tell everybody how awesome you are too.
Well, first off, thank you, Dr. Hishaw, for inviting me into this forum. Thank you, other panelists. So I'm Dr. Dentonio Worrell. I am an endodontist, so go endo is strong.
Strong.
Yeah, so I'm a practicing endodontist. I'm a board certified endodontist. I've been practicing endo since 2011. I was a general dentist for 5 years prior to that. I'm in the United States Army, so I'm an Army dentist. So if anybody has questions about military career in dentistry, I can answer questions about that. I also need to co-sign on Dr. Laurel Burns. She also is an endodontist, a good colleague of mine as well. So yeah, jump on that program. She will take care of you if you can get into that program. So I'm currently in the state of Hawaii. I'm in the Aloha state, the Rainbow State, and moved here about last August, so 6 months ago now. And I practice in the Army, but I also teach we have a 1-year program, the AEGD, so an advanced education and general dentistry residency program. And so I'm the endodontic mentor, so I teach them endodontics in that. Why a mentor? One of my fundamental philosophies in life is that we're all placed on this earth to help each other get through this experience called life. And so from that standpoint, I do believe like we're all supposed to be mentors. We're all supposed to help each other whatever way we can to get to wherever we want to go and beyond, So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm helping out. And that's why I'll continue to support Dr. Hishaw. Thank you.
Aww, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Who's next on the screen there? Dr. Elieza, you know?
Hi, so sorry, I didn't put my last
Want to
name
go?
on. I'm Dr. Yonan.
Or Dr. Glass?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it me? I couldn't hear. Oh, Dr. Glavash. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Sorry.
jump right in.
I'm clearly a little off my game today. But I'm Dr. Yonan. I met Dr. Hishaw last year, and I had a little bit of a different path. I've had a lot of mentors throughout the years, and who's just given me a break to kind of help me get to the next step. So I didn't get to where I was alone. And so I feel like now that I'm here, it's really, really important to help those who want to get to where you are. And no one did it alone. So I really want to, mentor and that future generation. That's the future of our profession. So we're so excited to have new young faces, who are going to lead this profession to greatness. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, she's in Arizona with me, was at our second youth summit, but this year it was our first one at AT Steel University, and it was so great to have you there. I know it was a lot of fun. Couldn't do it without you either. Thank you so much. Dr. Glavash. She too. One, I called and said, no, and I think you were like, I wouldn't even think that you were going to be able to fly over, and came all the way to Arizona last year as well. And I just feel like we just have this connection once the people are coming in and just getting this experience with the students at this summit. So please introduce yourself, and then I will let everyone know we are doing it again. So any of the mentors out there who want to come, I'll tell you a little bit more. It's next October. Go ahead.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me. I'm a pediatric dentist, board certified, working in West Texas. I was a general dentist for 6 years before I got tired of working with adults. Aside from that, growing up, I had, similar to the previous doctor, I had a lot of mentorship because I sought it out. So I got anybody and everybody's opinion about everything. And what I've come to learn is that everyone, your mentors have to meet you at your level. So everyone's situation is different for how to get to the same goal. So all those times I took boards for different things or tests, I would always pray, God, please let me through. If you do, I swear, I promise, I'll help somebody. So here I am. Um, Giving back to
That's great.
all those pre-dentals. I
We've
know
all we've
how
all had
crazy
those
it was.
prayers.
Yes, and I love it. I love doing it. I love getting people on track. I'm a doer, and I believe in the next generation of candidates, and I'm here to support the movement.
Yes, thank you, Mentors for the Movement. Well, that is all of us. Um, are there any other mentors that are here who are not on the panel? Can you raise your hand? We had some registered that may not have come. Okay. And all right. Well, just to stay on cue, we'll just our time. Yeah, we'll keep going, but we'll get to know you guys too. If there's anyone who has a question or like to say anything from our mentees, you want to raise your hand and I can call you, or just come off mic. We'll keep this really casual. Everything is good. Okay. All right. Well, I know you guys want to learn some stuff, so let me minimize that. Yay, I think I finally got it now. So, smarter goals. This is what we're going to go through on how to be specific, measurable, attainable, set realistic, time bound with your goals, be able to evaluate and revise if necessary. But before we jump into that, I'm just going to take a few minutes to share with you what I think is important to prepare yourself when you are strategically planning out your goals, your vision for the year, your vision for the next 5 years, and so on, and how we can make that happen. So we did it, as you heard from our panelists, and we know that you can too. That's why we're mentoring. But things, well, I want to discuss the 5 tips that have helped me is that I really need to evaluate my mindset. And then we'll talk about how casting the vision, knowing where you're going, so that others can support you. I'm sorry, I saw someone in the waiting room, so I'm gonna just let them in really quick. There we go. And then passing the vision, protecting your time with boundaries. Boundaries are a gift, but we have to learn how to set them. If you're looking into going into the healthcare field like us, we're givers. And so a lot of times we're always the ones giving to others and not ourselves. And that depletes us so that we can't achieve our goals. Building habits to help you focus on your goals and finding an accountability partner, your mentor. If you were recently matched with a mentor, you should have received the email with this mentee self-reflection uh, form. If you haven't, let me know and we can definitely get that sent out. But the reason and this is new this year, so if you've been a mentee for a year, you probably didn't see it. But we really wanted you to kind of take your time to kind of cast your vision and at the same time as you're casting out, reflecting back within to see what it is it that you really need and why are you doing this, and so that you can share with the mentor so you can get more value and deepen your relationship with your mentor. What excites you about the field of dentistry? What have you done so far to prepare yourself? What do you think your strengths are? Where do you see your challenges are? And what you can do to improve your chances and to get into dental school. And then what help you need from your mentor. This will help so that you guys can really get strategic and efficient in your time together so that you can just yield a greater result when you're working together. So let us know if you need that email to you. And on the growth mindset, there's research done by a Stanford researcher, Dweck, and she discovered that what we're finding is with a growth mindset, we're letting go of the ideals that you never could learn a skill or something like that. With a growth mindset, you're realizing that you can. And so by shifting that paradigm, saying, "Oh, I'm never good with money. I'll never have enough money, or I can't manage my money," then you'll never learn how to. If someone says they're just not smart enough, maybe you've been told that, but you can grow to study and study right and um, be someone who can achieve this goal. For me personally, when I was going through dental school and through residency, and I remember my instructors and even my classmates were saying, "Well, are you going to start a practice?" Like, "Oh no, I mean, I'm not good. I'm not a good business person. I just can't do it. I don't think I can manage people well." But that was just such a fixed mindset, which I never gave myself the opportunity to train myself to be someone who can run a business. So I had to learn that lesson the hard way and lost thousands and thousands of dollars because right out the gate, there was this management company different than what we know of today as a DSO. It was a much different type of company that was taking 70%, excuse me, no, actually, it was 60% of my profit to manage my practice. And I thought, okay, well, at least I can have my practice and they'll do that. But I was just realizing after a few years that, just how I was learning from them, I could have learned, I could have taken courses, I could have talked to people, I could have reached out to a mentor, someone to help me. So it wasn't until a few years later that I finally, oh gosh, and the contract was terrible. It was like 7 years. Had to go through legal fees and like get out of it. It was just horrible. Oh, there's someone in the lobby. Sorry, trying to talk and do that. I don't know if anyone else can admit. I don't. My intern's not here. So, long story short, is really transform how you think, because how you think really determines your behavior. Your behavior determines your actions, and your actions determine your output, your goals, how you're living your life. So just keep that story in the back of your head. Then never think that you can't do something. There's plenty of resources out there and people to help you along the way. In casting the vision, where there's no vision, there is no hope. George Washington Carver quote that I love so much. And goals, when I was going through a time where I had to go through some self reflection a few years ago when I was getting kind of tired and burned out, was after I had a medical scare. And I was like, what is it that I really need to do? I mean, I love my practice, but I just felt like there was something else that would be fulfilling for me. And I started reading all sorts of books, and the one thing is a book that I would recommend. It's great on leadership. And when we talk about habits, I'll show you the Atomic Habits book that I'll bring up. But on the one thing, they talked about goal setting to the now. And it's about starting your someday goal. Like, someday, what do you want to do? And then from there, work your way down. Sometimes when you're thinking of that someday goal, like I want to own multiple practices. I want to be the managing doctor and only manage the associates. And I'm only going to work 3 days out of the week, and I'm going to have a house there. And that's your someday goal. Maybe your someday goal is to be a philanthropist, and you've sold your practice, or you whatever you've done. Uh, that will help you one day, but how do you get to that someday goal? You break it down to your 5 year, like, well, what is the one thing that you can do right now to reach that 5 year goal? What is the one thing then that you can do right now that you can achieve in a year to be able to reach that 5 year goal and then reach that someday goal? And then breaking it down further, monthly, weekly, daily, and right now. Um, for ease, I remember reading in the book someone saying that they wanted to be like the number one realtor and have financial freedom and have houses everywhere. Well, what did they need to do in 5 years? Well, they had to make a certain goal to sell so many houses and maybe have a team that they work under them. And then, well, what did they need to do to get that in 5 years? Well, they needed to look down the 1 year, monthly, weekly, daily. But what it really broke down to right now was that person wasn't really confident in getting out there to sell the homes and be a manager. So what they actually had to do right now, based on the daily goal, was they needed to get um, more exercise. I mean, it seems crazy that you go from a someday goal of having this vast company, but getting right now is they wanted to have the energy and feel confident about themselves, so they needed to exercise. So if that was the goal, what were they going to do? Well, they're going to get some physical activity every day and then set the goals from there. I hope that made sense, but it really can. So think about your someday goal, write it down, and then you can work your way backwards. Hmm. So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. People often say that we teach what we most need to learn. And again, being the one who gives to others, we sometimes have blurred boundaries and we don't protect those boundaries. Nedra Tawwab is a clinician who is really great. She has a book. I wish I brought it with me, but is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. But she states that boundaries are guidelines that keep us mentally and emotionally healthy and help us to feel safe. So it's important to know that sometimes when those boundaries are violated, that it takes away from what you have your goals set on. If you know that you need to be studying at least an hour a day or doing practice tests at least an hour a day, you have to set those boundaries, even if someone is saying, but can you help me move? Or can you watch my daughter? Let's say your sister or someone needs help with that, or your spouse or partner and they're wanting to go, you need to first explain what your goals are with them, your friendships and your family, so they can help you achieve your goals. But also, you got to think about those boundaries that can be hindering yourself that you need to set on your own on your own self, such as distractions. What are those distractions that are keeping you from achieving your goals? Are they social media or checking the email or not getting enough rest? So, what can you set around to make sure that you have the energy and the clarity to really get in there and do what you need to do on those daily goals, to meet your monthly goals, to meet your yearly goals as well? Because everyone who is in here, oh, well, that was funny. Everyone who is in here technically within years, we're looking at 5-year goals. You guys should all be in dental school by then, right? Some of you will be out of dental school, practicing, teaching, or in residency. So it's really not that far off, but it starts now as you're getting ready. So the habits, and those habits are the things that you're going to have to do daily to help you focus on getting those goals. It's like the metaphor of the domino effect. it You can have just one domino, but after it goes through his all of its path, it could actually topple down a building, if you have so many dominoes lined up. So what is the one thing you need to do to start that cascade? So you want to think big, but you want to start small. And in Atomic Habits, they give you James Clear really goes over how you can make these changes, small little actions, to have this greater big effect. It all starts with one thing. Um, and what is that one thing for you? And hopefully that's something you can discuss through with your mentors today. I'm trying to think of, for me specifically, I know that I need to get more sleep. And I find that because I am doing a lot of things, it doesn't allow me time to do that because I'm working during the day and come back, I have meetings and then my family. And so if I'm not going to sleep on time, then I don't have that energy to be able to get up and to work out and get the things done. And then things get pushed back further and further, and then it piles up. So, what do I need to do? So, one of the things that I'm trying to work on and I'm writing down with you guys today is, well, this is a little dirty secret. Dentists will know. I'm not really good about signing my charts right away. Don't tell anybody. But yes, I will let a day to or 3 go before I go back. Whereas if I could just sit down and get it done before I leave, then I wouldn't have that over my head. So what do I need to do? I need to set a kind of a plan of action, right? You can have a vision, but if you have no plan, that's nothing's going to happen with that. Of when I'm going to do those. So now after the morning patients, before I start the afternoon, I'll do sign those charts, and then after afternoon, since I have to run off after work to get the kids and get them to their activities, the afternoon charts are the ones I will do first thing in the morning the next day. So I'm saying that out loud so everyone can hold me accountable. Okay. But by doing that, then when I come home, I can be more present. I won't feel like I need to do that and stay up past 11, 12 o'clock at night to catch up on the charts. And then I can get rest and I can get up and do all the things I need to do. Right. Now let's talk about accountability and how much that really, really matters. I mean, there's research and stats that will tell you that you're more likely to achieve a goal if you have an accountability partner. And for you, each person's different. So I want you to think about what type of accountability partner is going to help you the most. And obviously, we're here because we're your mentors, and I want you to think of us as being your accountability partner. But you can have a circle of influence of many people. You have us here, mentorship in diversity and dentistry, but also we can be your accountability partner in whatever goals you have in life. We just want you to succeed in life and succeed to fulfill your potential and all the things that you have in sight for your future. But do you need someone who is your cheerleader or someone who's going to challenge you? When you're picking out different people or reaching out to them, for maybe you do have the one friend who is your cheerleader who's going to study with you and root you on and know that they're there for you. But sometimes we might get really comfortable if we don't have someone to challenge us. Sometimes when we're going to say we need to stretch yourself on these goals, and we are asking that you take, at least get through 50 DAT practice tests in a week. Is that a stretch for you or not? So having someone there to challenge you is very helpful too. So just remember, there's two types of accountability partners there. And then circle influence, like I said, maybe you need someone who's, faith, has a lot of faith in you and spiritual, who can help you with self-healing and your self-care versus just your mentor in this aspect. So different circles of influence who can help you achieve your goal. And just also with your mentor or whoever you're working with to set a plan in place. We give you recommendations of how often you should be meeting, when, where, how, but just make sure that it is consistent. So in your workbook, this is also in the mentoring handbook that's on our website. I just wanted to show you some of the resources that you have in there. Now you've found your accountability partner, your mentor. Um, be prepared when you're having those meetings. We're saying being consistent in those meetings. Keep a list of this log because then you can be right there. It's great to have it written down so we can go back and see, have you achieved certain goals that you guys set together? What are the feedbacks? What are the challenges? So I would really recommend that you take advantage of this log. And also, I don't know, we added this new this year on, some things to advise you on how you should be interacting with your mentors and respect the privacy of the relationship that you have. Excuse me, I should say confidentiality more so. We're a lot of times, like I shared a story with you, your mentor is going to share a very personal story. So just make sure that you're not sharing that with others. This is a foundation of respect and we really want to maintain that integrity in that relationship. Make sure that with that mindset, if you're getting feedback, to accept it that we're giving feedback to help challenge you as well as support you. And like many of our mentors said, they had someone who stood in the gap for them, and they're returning the favor by paying it forward and being a mentor. So all this, the growth mindset, your worksheet, all this stuff is right here just as a reminder to help guide you along. Okay, how are we doing? Everybody good so far? Good. Thumbs up. Okay. Well, I now get to let our mentors go through the goal setting acronym for the SMARTER goals. So let us get started with specific. And I dropped my page. Who's coming off?
That's me.
That's Dr.
That's me,
Golden.
Don.
There it is. All right.
All right.
Let me
It's
see if
kind
I
of hard to
can.
follow.
No, not at all. Not at all. Let me try to get you up there. Can you pin? I'm going to try to pin you and then I'm going to go back and take it.
This is me.
Pin. Perfect. And then there we go.
Right.
There
So
we are.
again, it is going to be kind of hard to follow what she just dropped. That knowledge, guys, we all need to pay her for that because that's some good stuff. Even if you've been practicing as a dentist for some years, I know a lot of the mentors up here are writing notes like, oh yeah, I like that. So kudos, Doc, great job. So for the smarter goals, I have the first letter S. Be specific. Uh, with being specific, you have to make sure that you're also keeping this simple. So you want to make sure things are clear and it's easy to understand with your goal. Also, you want to be sensible. If you're being sensible, you need to be realistic. We can't say, "Hey, I'm going to go run a marathon" when I've never run a 5K or even, walk around a track. So be realistic. Know yourself. Figure out what can be done. But you also want to make sure that it's significant. You don't want to have a little small baby goal. We're out here trying to do big things. So it needs to be meaningful. It needs to stand out. And honestly, think of it as a way to motivate yourself to push yourself forward. Okay. So when we're looking at being specific, we also are going to build up with the 5 W's. And the 5 W's are who, what, when, where, why. Okay, so who, what, when, where, why. So starting off with number one, who. That's easy. It's you. No big surprise about that. This is your goal. We don't have to figure that out. That's not hard. So check that off the list. All right. Second, what? What are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to get better grades so we can, get into dental school. We're trying to be the first doctor in our family. What is it? What are we trying to accomplish? Then after that, why are we trying to accomplish it? That is one of those moments when you're writing your goals, you want to sit back and truly understand. A lot of us want to become doctors, but why do you want to become a doctor? And I don't want to hear that simple answer is because I want to help people. You could be a crossing guard and help people. Why do you want to go into dentistry? Why do you want to play in people's mouth, pull out teeth, or put in teeth, or whatever you're going to do as a dentist? Or we got a couple endodontists in here. Why do we want to do root canals and save teeth? You have to understand why I want to do it because that why is what it's going to be something that's going to help push you through your goal. Because there are going to be a lot of days you're going to want to quit and then you're going to have to sit there and remember, I want to do this because of this. So that's going to be that little nudge. All right. Then next up is going to be where. Where am I going to do this? We're going to do this at the library. I got to go study there. I'm going to be at Starbucks. Going back to running that marathon, I need to at least run over to that track for a second. We have to figure out what's the location that's going to be involved with my goal. And then finally, when am I going to do it? This is a super important one because you have to figure out when am I going to start it and then when is the deadline. The when is very important. That gives you a period of time that you know you're working with. And something that I always love when it comes to certain goals, I get excited about the deadline because I want to accomplish my goals. And as we get closer to that deadline, let's say we're 2 weeks out and things are getting a little low. I know I need to turn the fire up and I need to get there. Now, from time to time, you may not accomplish all your goals and you might have to kind of reshuffle it, but that deadline lets you know that, hey, you need to figure out what can be done in this period of time. And then when you get to the deadline and you look back, you're going to see you've accomplished so much and be very proud of yourself. All right. A little bonus here. Some things are going to limit us to doing our goals, like certain resources and things of that nature. So that's something you want to look at and think about. But ultimately, that's just a little asterisk to the side, thinking about which things are going to do that. All right. So as we move on, so I'm going to give you an example. We said it's going to be a new year, new you. I want to get better grades. I want to do better. I want to study more. All right. So this is what I'm thinking. So starting off, we got to think who. That's easy. That's you again. Then we're going to go to what? We're going to study more. Why? Because I want to get better grades and I want to become a dentist. Then we're going to go where? Where am I going to do this? This is going to be at the library, not my bedroom because that's where my bed's at and I'm going to fall asleep. So maybe the kitchen table, and also maybe Starbucks or somewhere where it's lively. You have to be very, very intentional about where you study, because we want to make sure that studying is getting done. And then finally, when. When is awesome in this particular goal because we also go back to when am I going to start? When am I going to finish? But also, how am I going to set up this particular studying schedule? Am I going to study Monday, Wednesday, Friday from this time to this time? So when I'm looking at this goal, I get to dive even deeper and there's more details to it. All right. So now we put all those things together, and my simple goal of thinking about improving my study habits goes into this. I will study more to get better grades to become a DDS, and this will begin tomorrow morning and last until May 1st, which is right before finals. And there you go. You have a brand new goal, and that's using all those tips. All right, Doc, back to you.
Oh my gosh, that was great. I loved it. Thank you for bringing it all together with the example. And I know that is the common thread for everyone here. So thank you. Thank you. All right, let me minimize and go to the next slide. Measurable. Come on down, Dr. Celistan.
All right, so M is for measurable. M is also for meaningful and motivating. So these are all things that we want to think about when we're setting our goals. It's really important to have measurable goals so you can really track exactly where you're going and stay motivated along the way, especially when there's a timeline like Dr. Golden noted. So also using your mentee log, you can use that to track your progress towards this goal that you're having. Assessing progress helps you to stay focused along the way, meet your deadlines that you're creating or maybe created for you, and then also feel excited as you're getting towards the end of the goal. So a measurable goal should address certain questions like how much of something do I need to do? How many do I need to do? How long do I need to do it for? But most importantly, it has an end point in mind. So how will you know when this goal is accomplished? So for certain concrete goals, it's a little bit easier. So for example, if you're saying a concrete academic goal might be, I want to get an A on this test. So you can say, a measurable goal for that is I'm going to read one chapter of my textbook each night, or I'm going to spend 1 hour reviewing for this exam. I noticed a lot of people were talking about reading books for leisure. So a personal goal might be to spend some time relaxing. The larger goal might be I want to feel more relaxed during the day. So a measurable goal would be I want to spend time doing one chapter of reading in a book for leisure. Then it's sometimes more difficult when we have abstract goals. One that I hear a lot from my mentees is I want to get better at my hand skills, or I want to improve my hand skills before I start applying and things like that so that I can be a better dentist in the long run. But how do you know if your hand skills are really improving? How do you know when the goal is actually accomplished? So some ways that we can break this down, if you already have a certain skill that you like, for instance, I really like needle pointing. That's my favorite hand skill to practice at home. So I might say I want to complete one needlepoint project in some given point of time. You'll know that you're finished because the project is finished. Something that is a little bit different that you could do is say, I want to use this semester to take one course in a new art field or a piano course or something like that, where you'll be, yes, improving your hand skills, but it'll be a very measurable way to do that and motivating along the way because you'll see yourself getting to improve over time, but you'll know that it's accomplished by the end of it as a measurable goal.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought I was on mute. That was excellent. You guys, these examples are so great. And when we were coming up, the discussion coming up in dentistry 20 years ago, I should say, the discussion around hand skills wasn't there, and it's so important now. And I don't want people to kind of overlook that because now schools are asking that question. So I love that example, and I want to see one of your needlepoint projects next. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. We are going to go next to Dr. Yonan. Let me pin you here. And yeah, let me turn off my mic this time.
Okay, so my goal is attainable, also achievable. That's really, really important, right? It kind of goes back to what Dr. Hishaw was saying that, um, a goal has to be, something that's achievable, but it shouldn't be too easy, like low hanging fruit. That way you're sort of working towards it. So there's this kind of, and really attainable is kind of defined as how much time, skills, and the financial status of your situation that kind of will determine how achievable and practical that goal is. So time, say you're working part-time or full-time, and going to school, and your goal is to study, 10 hours a week. That might be more reasonable for someone who's working part-time or full-time, but if you're, not working at all, you may be able to cram in 30, 40 hours of studying a week. So a lot of that kind of depends on how much time you have. On top of that, timing also goes into how much you're preparing for the D.I.D. Are you, do you want 3 months, 6 months? It really just depends on how much time you have. If you want to if your goal is to go to school next year, you need to take the D.I.D. a little sooner. So these are kind of the things that gives you an idea of how to set your goals in a realistic, kind of realistic bubble. And the important thing of having an attainable goal is that if it's really impossible, say you want to get a 28 or something on your D.I.D, well, that's a pretty intense goal. And when it feels almost intimidating, it really discourages you from trying to achieve that goal. So then you feel like you can't achieve it, and it's kind of detrimental to your progress. So we want to make goals that are really, really practical for your skills. And that goes back to skills. Say you were like, I want to improve on my sciences. I'm not scoring well on my practice tests for the D.I.D, and I want to improve on sciences. But every time you're doing those practice tests, you're not doing well in the sciences, then that's kind of where you need to work on. It's being realistic about your skills and what you need to improve. When we have a good idea of what our weaknesses and strengths are, it really helps us to focus our energy on the ones that we aren't good at, and also acknowledge the things we're good at so that we can spend time on what we really need to continue on. And then the last is financial status. So again, that goes back to working part-time, working full-time, and then also dental school applications can be very expensive. So finding ways through your mentors, how to, get help with primary applications, secondary applications, and how many schools you want to apply to. All that's really, really important, because ultimately, when it comes down to it, we want to apply to all the schools in the country, right? Because we want to get in. But there is a limitation to how much you can pay for those applications and the travel that goes with it. So we just want to be a little realistic about that. That way, your goals are attainable and achievable. And we want you to achieve your goals. So that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We should attain those goals. Thank you so much. So rich stuff here. I love it. I love it. We are going to Dr. Amable. Let me get you pinned. And then I'll go back to the slides for you. Thank you, guys. Any questions so far? Oh, why am I pinned? There we go. Good. All right. Okay. So first, let me advance, and then I'll bring it back up. So realistic. And then here we go. And you can just let me know when you want me to advance.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Oh.
So mine
Sorry.
is realistic, which also have other names such as relevant, reasonable, realistic, resource, and results based. So as you can see on the little
Sorry,
paper.
sorry. I'm
That's
sorry. I hit something. Oh, here, let me do this. Just one moment, please. I'm going to minimize you. All right. There we go. There we go.
So I'm a very visual learner, so that's why I had to do my presentation with lots of color. So yeah, so I'm going to talk
Beautiful
about
colors,
art,
by the way. Thank you.
which it's the diversity of dentistry colors. I try
I
to base
love
it on that. So for the realistic part, your plan should be relevant to the directions that you want your life and your careers to take. Basically, one thing that I want you to know is that a goal without a plan is just a wish. Dreams are wishful thoughts that have no deadline. So that's why it's important that you pay attention to everything that your mentors have been telling you until today. But basically, this step is the step where you double check if this particular goal fits well with your life right now. A common issue that we face is that we are having too many goals at the same time or pursuing the wrong goals. So for example, I know as we are preparing to go into dental school, we have research to do and grades to be, keeping up, and the D.I.D preparations and the essay and the shadowing. So there's a lot of things going on that you need to prepare on, right? But the worst thing you can do is trying to fit them all together at once, because most likely you won't be able to do a great job in all of them. So breaking them down into little steps and having a mentor or somebody that can guide you through it would be the best thing. So remember, unless your plan is relevant to your overall life plan or career plan, achieving it may not accomplish anything. So for example, as I go back and think how dental school was, sometimes I remember I had not such a great grade in a science course, and I needed to bring that grade up. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm going to study that, but then I'm also going to shadow, and then I'm also going to do this research. And then at the end, it didn't quite work out because my whole thing was improving my GPA, right? And when I tried to kind of do everything at the same time, my GPA didn't change. Yes, I got some other experiences, but my overall goal, which was improving my GPA, didn't quite change. So that's exactly, it's important to ask yourself why you want to achieve this goal before you commit to it. Do you mind changing the next slide? Thank you. So in order for this particular goal or this particular part of the SMART goals is that you need to ask yourself the following question. Does this goal align with my long-term objectives? Will focusing on this goal will pull me away from other more important goals? And does it keep me on track with other goals in my life? So basically, if you're trying to study for a particular course, right, that you want to put your grade up, try to focus on that and then break down the other steps that you have into other semesters or other months where your mentor or your friends can help you through it. Do you mind changing the next slide, please? Thank you. So after thinking through this step, you should feel confident that your goal is relevant and even more motivated to achieve it. So for example, scoring the D.I.Ds or in assigned exams that you're trying to increase your GPA is relevant because it will give you confidence in school and feed in the larger goals around your future education and career, which would be getting into dental school. One little tip that I would give you is definitely if you really want to reach your goals, then you got to write them down and look at them often. You also got to be flexible and remember that your plans will need evaluation and revision, and it's important to stay flexible. Sometimes things might not go the way that we want. However, going back and revisiting and seeing how we can move towards that path that we wanted is the most important. So definitely write them down and look at them often. And that's it.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. I love that. So excited. Okay, let me unpin. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Worrell, on deck from Hawaii.
All right.
Hold on. Let me get you. Let me highlight you. Hold up. Why is it not doing it? Oh, Lord. Okay, here we go. And then let me advance. I'm gonna come back up. All right.
All right.
All
So,
right.
so I'm covering T, and T stands for time bound. Okay. I guess you could also think of it, maybe T stands for target date. You need to essentially set a realistic deadline to focus on and something to work towards. Dr. Amable just talked about, I love that quote, dreams or wishful thoughts that have no deadline. So a deadline is critical in this process. So when you're thinking about this aspect of SMART goals, you want to ask the first question, when? Okay, what is my target date? And then also, when am I going to start? Those are your two important wins. You want to be specific in what date and possibly even which timeline, what time you want to that deadline. Next, you want to ask yourself, based on your established deadline, okay, what can you do in smaller time increments? For example, if your timeline is, say, to receive an acceptance letter in December 2023 or January 2024, you want to ask yourself, okay, what can I do 6 months from now? You know, what can I accomplish by July 2023 towards that goal? And then further, you want to break it down to, okay, what can I do 6 weeks from now? What can I accomplish by March 4th, 2023? And finally, what can I do today? Because you can do something today towards your ultimate end goal, right? So what can I do today to help me get closer to my ultimate goal? All right. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Time bound. It's pretty simple.
Thank you. And they're doing stuff today by being here with us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dr. Glavash, I'm trying to bring you up here. And then, how's everybody doing? Give us some feedback in the chat. Everybody's getting some new information? Yeah? Let me come back and see. Okay, wonderful. All right. I'm trying to see if I can do this, and then I'll move you up. Go ahead. I'll just leave it there.
So I am E for evaluate. So with here, it says set a date or several that you intend on revisiting your goal and examine progress. So main thing with this is just really obviously be realistic with yourself. And I think the easiest way to start, if you have trouble making up when to start checking in with yourself, give most of the things that we're trying to achieve have a deadline. So like the DAT, for example, you're taking it September 12th or June 5th. And then you kind of work backwards, knowing the exact date. And then also share those dates. Once you sign up, share the date with a friend or someone that can hold you accountable, maybe a family member or your mentor. So that way they can also check in with you to make sure you're on top of your schedule for the day that you have to do the tasks, such as the DAT. Remember that these dates that you pick are unique to you and your schedule. So something that would kind of trip me up is I had some friends that were taking the DAT on different days. Oh, I want to get it done early summer so I can get out the way. But then I took it like midsummer. So then I felt kind of guilty that I was taking it a little bit later. But then I was like, oh, I have more time to study. But I don't know, I should take it earlier because she's taking it earlier and I should be studying when she's studying. Just focus on yourself. Pick the date that you take and then set up your dates to check in with yourself to say, hey, I'm going to do 10 chapters by this date and whatnot. But also be realistic because I used to overdo it. Like, I'm going to do 20 chapters by 3 weeks. That means I have to stay on top of it. And then I'd be disappointed with myself when I got even 19 chapters. If I didn't hit the number I put for that date, I'd be is equivalent to doing 1 chapter. It wouldn't matter to me because I didn't hit the number that I was going for. So then for me, I've learned over time, and you have to be honest with yourself. It's the only way to do it right. If you want to do very little as possible, which is like I like to do, I will plan a DAT 5 months in advance and then literally do little by little, 3 chapters within 2 weeks. That's crazy. That's so little. It's not a lot. But for me, I felt good doing that because it was attainable, it was achievable, and I knew I could do more than 3. So every time I did 4 or 5, I'd be super happy. But every time I did 3, I was like, oh, well, I only expected 3. And over time, I was actually over scheduled. So that made me feel better to be over scheduled, to kind of underdo things so that way I could overdo things and feel better about myself than to have these ridiculously high expectations by these dates and not kind of follow through. Planning a date, it takes away a lot of things. It takes away indecisiveness because you're just kind of like, oh, when should I do it? If you're like, oh, I'm taking boards June 5th, but you don't have any dates set up. You're like, June 5th, I have 3 months, I have plenty of time. But then you don't set the date, like before you know it, time gets out of control. You're 2 weeks and I'll start tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes. Also, it takes away anxiety. It takes away comparison because again, you're putting your dates there. Your friend, your colleague, the other person in the dental society is going to have a different date than you. So you know your date, you focus on your date, tunnel vision. So you don't get discouraged if the other person, man, I've studied 5 days this week. You know you're studying 1 day a week. You don't got to be disappointed that you're not studying 5 days a week. That's not you. Staying in your lane. You have it set up a certain way months in advance. Focus on yourself. And also the best thing about it is setting the dates that you don't have to worry about the date. You already know it's already in your calendar. You're going to do it on that day. So if it's a Wednesday and you're running behind, you ran a TJ Maxx and you did this and that, you're like, man, I didn't study today. Look at your schedule. Oh, I was supposed to study on Thursday. Like, it's okay. Today's Wednesday. Like, I'm okay. So it really helps you kind of focus on yourself your goals and your dates. So really writing it down, however that is for you. Put that date, put it on paper, and you have to tell somebody else to help you keep yourself accountable, because there's gonna be days that you're not as motivated, weeks that you're not as motivated, days that you skip the date and you're like, oh, awkward, next weekend, I'm not gonna even look. But there's gonna be people who check in with you, reassure you. We all need that. So that's my E for evaluate.
That's great. Yeah, and I love the part about the comparison. I think that can be really, really discouraging sometimes. And then you don't celebrate your own wins and progress of where you are. You're on the path that you're supposed to be on. Don't worry about, where what everyone else is doing. Oh, well, I should be taking it this fall, or I should be applying for this cycle because we were in the same class together. But then you may not be prepared, and then you fail, and then if you fail and you're discouraged, then you don't apply, and then you're just missing out on the career that was meant for you. So thank you. So I get revise. I don't really need to. Let me just advance it so we're on the right place. So oh, was your goal too easy? Was it too difficult, or was it the mama bear, or was the baby bear? Baby bear. It was just right, right? Do you need to revise it in any way? Have there been unintended consequences to the goal that you need to self correct and get realigned? I think the most obvious issue, or not issue, or things that it can be affecting you, especially if you're preparing for the DAT. Sorry, I was trying to get me back up. What it would be, perhaps you came down with COVID, or a family member came down with COVID, or really sick, and you weren't able to stay on track of your preparation. So maybe you need to revise what date. Maybe you need to push back the DAT a little bit. And other life circumstances that can come up where you need to just sit and realize what I just kind of shared. Is this the right time for me to be applying, to make sure that I'm going to the ultimate goal is to achieve the goal, right? So it's important that we take some times, and this is where mentors and your accountability partners can be with you, for you to kind of really sit back and take a look to see where you are and adjust if necessary. Um, I was reading Ashley. I've been taking in. Oh, I just lost it. Um, the boot. Let's read some comments from everyone here. Ashley was saying, I've been using the DAT boot camp schedule, and the boot camp schedule isn't working with my work schedule. Right, right. So then that's a great example of showing of how you need to maybe revise how you're doing that. Or also, sometimes, I mean, if you're working, you sometimes need to be working. I was working with a mentee who was just really in a kind of a toxic environment in her work schedule, and wasn't being quite accommodating with the time that she needed. And I said, well, let's look at some other opportunities that you may have. Have you thought about putting out your resume somewhere else? And then she actually found, and then also we found another place to interview. But after we worked with her on just maybe talking to the manager, then she was able to be shifted to another dentist there, and was able to kind of change her schedule, and then it worked out. So that's the important part, is just to revise as necessary. Great, great, great. Wonderful. Y'all, thank you for communicating in the chat. So I love all this. What other questions? Can you guys unmute and come in with questions, comments, anything before we break out into our rooms? Because really, if you ask a question, more times than likely someone else had that same question, and you have our undivided attention right now. This is the best time to come on off mute if you can. I see someone's typing. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Tell us your name, where you're
Okay.
from, and where you are in your journey to dental
Hello
school.
everyone. My name is Myrna Israel. I'm really excited to be here, and like I took notes on all the valuable information. How My question is, how does one recuperate or bounce back from not reaching a specific goal? Because I feel like for me, the domino effect for reaching my goals and doing really well for a long time, the opposite also happens if I miss a day. And I'd like to know what would be a better way of approaching the fact that okay, Myrna, you missed a day. but let's not turn it into 4. So
Mhm.
I
Don't
struggle a
fall off the
little bit with
wagon.
that. Yeah, I fall off the wagon sometimes. So I always like get back up, but it takes me a while. So I want to know like what would be the best way to approach that.
Great question. Thank you for asking that. Who wants to take that one for us?
I'll contribute to what she said. That
Mhm.
I'm the same way. Whenever I go off hard. It's never like, oh, I went off. I'll go back the next day. It's like a hard. It could go up to a week and a half or like 3 days, 4 days. So what I learned about myself, instead of I beat myself so hard. So now every time I go off the bandwagon for a diet, for anything, for a goal, I just tell myself, you know what, I'm doing instead of feeling that guilt, I give myself an average. Like I'm gonna take 4 days off. So I've been procrastinating 2 days. I'm gonna take 2 more days. And then the 5th day, I have to get it together. And there's something in my mind that tells me like, because I have mercy on myself and I have 2 extra days to do nothing, even though I'm panicking, I know I'm gonna get together on the 5th day. I almost just allow myself to have that break. And then, but I also work well under pressure. So even though I see the days and the hours and the times like dwindling, otherwise, if I tell myself, I need to get back tomorrow, I have to tomorrow. The next day, I'm just like, oh. So I'm like, I keep doing the same thing over and over. My husband's like, whatever, take another day. I'm like, yeah, whatever, take another day. Like, take another day. And then I just take. So every time I get off the bandwagon, I have in my mind I take 4 days off and I go back.
Oh, that works for you. That's great.
Your
Awesome.
husband's not a type A personality, Doc.
No.
No,
That's
so he doesn't understand that struggle. So I know how you feel. When you fall off that wagon, it's tough, but you have to have that conversation with yourself, like she said, and be mindful. If you fell off the wagon because you're tired, your body's telling you that
Mhm.
you're tired. So you need to rest and you need to go ahead, allow for the extra day or two, get yourself right, and then get back on it. Have that conversation, accept the failure, because type A people, we don't like to hear the word failure, but accept that, hey, I failed at that point, but let me get right back up and get it going. Okay.
That's great. Yeah. Grace. The word grace just came to me. It's like, give yourself grace. We all been there. We all done that, but that's so true, Dr. Golden. It's just, your body is always trying to tell you what you need. And you need to listen to yourself. And I would say start now, because as you progress along the journey and become a working dentist, there are going to be so many stressors on your life, and you grow a family, it's even more. But there will be times definitely when you just don't accomplish what you're trying to do and you want to give up and stop. But I just say then that's when you go back to that vision you had. Think of yourself as your future self, and not to give up, you have that bounce back and the resilience to get to that future self that you're working towards. So that's why it's so important to hold that vision, keep that vision there. Okay, good, good, good. And
Can I
and,
add
and
it?
reach out to
Yep.
accountability. I mean, to a friend and someone else who's going through it, because it's nice to know that not that misery loves company, but yes, it does. But also to know that you two are not alone. This too shall pass. I'm sorry, Dr. Worrell, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Because I wanted to add on. I do agree with that. Thinking about grace, you just forgive yourself. It's okay. And then one other thing, you mentioned failure. The topic of failure. So temporary failures don't have to become permanent failures. Failures only become permanent if you don't learn from them. So if anytime you fail or miss a goal, just take some time to actually do some reflection. Okay, what went wrong? Why did it go wrong? And then adjust from there. But if you never take that critical time to just reflect on what happened and how you're going to change things moving forward, that's only when they become permanent. So just remember that. Okay.
Great, great, great. Jen offered some great advice too about rewarding yourself, or once you accomplish your goal. Yeah, if you really want to get on social media, that's like, okay, well, I'm gonna make sure I do this for the next 20 minutes, set the timer, and then you can scroll for 20. Or get a Starbucks, like she said. My kids would say Dutch Bros over over Starbucks now. There's
Can
so
I
much
say
sugar in there.
one little thing?
Of course.
So I think, just like everybody else said, I mean, definitely give yourself some time. But if you want to get back at it, like me, I'm a very virtual, very colorful type of person. So one thing that actually helped me this year was getting an agenda called Clever Fox, and it has like you can write your goals, you can write, and it's very, I mean, it's affordable. It's $18 to $23. I got it in Amazon, and you can actually write down the things that you're grateful for, your goals, break down your goals. It's great. It comes with stickers and then highlighters. So in case you're that type of person that needs a constant reminder and look back at your goals and write them down, and that's definitely something that I would recommend for you because it really helped me.
I'm gonna check that one out. I like it. I like it. Oh, you have one. Dr. Burrell has one. Dr. Mobley. All right. Looks
Yeah,
like
all I kept saying during this whole webinar is great minds think alike. I have Clever Fox, I have Atomic Habits, I
uh,
have the one thing.
oh
Yeah,
man, look at
so
that. All right, guys. Yeah, that's gonna be some good stuff right there. I'm gonna have to get some donations to come in so we can send them out to you guys who attended. Um, that's great. Well, we have more questions. Why don't we hold on to these questions for our open forum at the end? But I really want you guys to start working on your goals and want to stay within our time, respect your time. So it's going to take me just a minute to assign everyone into a room. Just let me know. Is there anyone whose mentor is here that they want to be in that room? Any takeaways anyone wants to share at all that they might help the group? No, that's okay. That's okay
Ashley,
because we only have 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Ashley wants to share.
Oh, go ahead, Ashley.
Hi. So
Hi,
yes,
Ashley.
hi, Dr. Hishaw. So my time with Dr. Golden was very, very important because I know a lot of you all don't know me. So hi, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm Ashley, but I'm a teacher as well, and my schedule is very tight because my days start at 6:30 at work and I get off at 2:15. So with a tight schedule like that, I found that it was very um like I felt like when I got off of work, I had to come home and study. Like I'm like, well, I was able to feed others, but I'm not able to feed myself. So in that process of me doing that every day, I got burnt out and I wasn't able to like understand and comprehend the material that I was actually studying. So then Dr. Golden helped me with my measurable. So he figured out my specific. We went through my measurable, and then we talked about my attainable. And he was telling me, like, you don't have to study every single day. Like, and he even broke down and showed me, like, Tuesdays and Thursdays can be your valid study days. Like, you can study from, like, for example, he told me, like, whatever my schedule allows from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., and allow myself Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays off, but also go into full-time study mode on the weekends. So that way I'm be able to hit like 20 to 24 hours right there
Wow.
just from
Mm-hmm.
studying. And I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Like I thought I had to study like at least 6 to 8 hours a day. So thank you, Dr. Golden. You're best. Appreciate you.
See, she went from, working harder to working smarter. And then it sounds so much better when you say, I'm studying for 24 hours a week. Like, wow, whoa, you're really getting it in. And
Yeah.
so, kudos.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to do the batch studying like the long extended times and stuff. Yeah. Breaking it up. But each person learns differently too. So it might work the other way. Great, great,
Yeah,
great.
I told her if you're trying to power through and she end up becoming burned out, all that information when she's sitting there reading and she's so exhausted is going in one ear and out the other. So she's
Mm-hmm.
not even retaining all of that, and that's not going to help her in
Yeah.
the long run.
That is so true. That's so true. Well, this is Ask Us Anything forum. So what else? Who's shadowing right now? Well, I guess everyone's kind of shadowing. Does anyone have a regular office? Yeah, yeah, yes. Anjane's gonna be doing more. She has been doing. Good, good, good. Do you want to talk about that? Any interview? Don't forget there's those mock interview questions there. Want to have any Anyone want to talk about anyone specifically want to talk about interview questions, shadowing, personal statements?
I'll just
Mhm.
spit out some random interview
Please,
tips.
thank you.
And there
That'd be
was some
great.
great, really great ones from Dr. Franklin last year, like stuff I've
Mhm.
never heard about, which I'm like, wow. But really briefly, so we can get back to the questions. Main thing when you interview, know your why. Why do you want to be a dentist? They're going to always ask that. They've heard
Mhm.
everything, like we mentioned before. Oh, I want to help people. So always say that, but then also say something unique for yourself. Avoid cliche answers. Know facts and details about the school. Don't ask a question that can be answered on their website, because it's going to look like you're kind of careless. Like, oh, do you guys have this? Yeah, we primarily teach that way. And you're going to look kind of like a fool. So read their website, all the stuff about it, and then ask questions about that so it looks like you did your homework. Hype up the school. This I learned from Dr. Franklin. Tell them you would be a great alumni and how you would be that way. So if you're a Gator fan, tell them I'm a diehard Gator fan. If I were to go to school, I'm rock hard Gator, go to all the games. They actually like to hear that stuff. Like, how would you represent them moving on if you were to go to the program? We never really think about, like, if I were to graduate from here, what would I do? You just tell them, like, I want to get in so bad. Dress the part, be on time, set the impression from the parking lot. You could be fighting to get a parking spot because you're so nervous. And true story, I've heard this a few times. You get in, and that person you were fighting with is the front desk receptionist, or like an administrator that was running late. And they're like, you look mortified because they're like, I recognize you from stealing that spot from the parking lot. So like the minute you enter the parking lot, put a smile on your face, think that anyone you interact with, patient, administration, you don't know who anyone is, and they all are connected, and they will talk to each other about, oh, I saw that girl in the interview. I saw her in the parking lot. She's great. She was super sweet. She opened the door for me. She didn't know who I am. So set that expectation from the beginning. Last thing I'll say is don't lie. I've been behind the scenes for different schools. Residents, faculty, students, they will fact check. They are FBI agents. They will look up stuff about you, and they will be, when the faculty asks, like, hey, what do you guys think about the social? They're like, so-and-so had 2 martinis. She got an extra shot of vodka in that one, and she did. People they're not out to get you, but everyone wants to have something to contribute and say about somebody else. So don't give them the opportunity. Even though they're so sweet and so nice to you, I'm telling you, other residents behind closed doors are like, I don't like her. She said this, and I was offended. And then unfortunately, the staff has to take that into consideration. So be yourself, but don't think anyone's your friend in the process. Like, just be professional at all times.
Oh, that was good stuff right there. Right there, right there. It's so true. And also just to piggyback on that, just know that you belong to be there. That's all I want to say to you guys. You belong to, because when I mean, and that is true. Like in residency, you'll go out to lunch or dinner or something, and they are. I remember talking about, like, yeah, they were drinking, they were tipsy and all that kind of stuff. But when they are talking about stuff and things of their summer home or whatever that they're doing that maybe not be in your kind of sphere of existence, don't let that throw you off that you shouldn't be there in that interview. Especially, I mean, there's some research out there that will show, that sometimes students of color may feel intimidated when they're seeing kind of all the accolades and stuff behind them, and maybe they're rowing or something like that, and you don't feel like you can connect with the interviewer. They're really trying to get rid of that now by doing more of those online interviews and making sure that kind of stuff is not present, so it can't bring that imposter phenomenon out on you. So just remember, you've done the hard part. You've got through. Your DAT scores are great. Your GPA is doing great. You got a slam and personal statement. You just need to show up and tell them how lucky they will be to have you there, right? Great. Anything else to add?
Sure, I can add in some.
Please.
In general, I'll speak in generalities, but you want to make sure you understand a little bit about our profession and what's currently going on in our profession. So you want to make sure you know something about access to care and maybe some of the things that affect that. You want to see. You want to know about communication. You want to be prepared to talk about your communication skills and how you would communicate with patients. In case asked to give a scenario. You also want to know about diversity and inclusion and the role it's currently playing in healthcare, in particular dentistry. Just in general, those are some things you definitely want to make sure you have some knowledge about before you go into interviews for some schools in particular. Anyway.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to harp on that a little bit if I get a chance to.
Please.
Yeah, about the, diversity and inclusion. I think now that I'm a dentist, you see that people want to see people like you. They want to see themselves. They want to see people like themselves and connect them, right? As a doctor and as a patient, you want someone who can share something of common, whether that's a background or something similar, and that way you can really connect with your patients. And we need more diversity for sure. Patients want to feel comfortable with their provider and who's giving them care, and that's you guys. It's people who look like you, who sound like you, who have the same backgrounds and stories like you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like
And
to
you're at the university too, right, Elieza? Sorry, Dr. Yonan.
What? I'm sorry, what was that?
You're at ATSU. Do you do some teaching as well?
I do some at Midwestern, and then I do some council membership with the Dental Society.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'd like to add one more thing as well for interviewing, just a soft skill that I didn't learn about until a little bit too late, but writing thank you notes. So making sure to get the card of every single person who interviews you, whether it's a resident, a current student, even knowing the person who checks you in, what their name is. So you can shoot them an email after and just say, thank you for making this a really nice experience for me. It was a great time being there. And I look forward to, hearing from you soon. That goes a really, really long way with each of your interviewers.
And can I add one more little thing?
Yeah, everyone go around. That's perfect. You guys are dropping lots of pearls.
So one thing when you're interviewing and they ask you, do you have any more questions for us? Definitely have prepared some questions. The same way that you guys follow amazing influencers in Instagram, definitely go and check out the social media of the school that you're particularly being interviewed at. They have specific group of people just trying to showcase their school, and there might be things that they're showcasing that they're not on the website. So you would learn about community service, you will learn about awards and different things that you can definitely talk and bring up during their interview. And even if the person who's interviewed doesn't know it, you will show that you're like really interested in that school because you went out of your way to learn more about whatever was going on, and make them even feel bad that they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. I remember another student, she was following them on their social media, and most schools will host a Give Kids a Smile. And if you happen to be in that area, you should show up and say you want to volunteer. They can have runners to help kind of turn over the chairs and run charts back and forth. And then you're getting some face time with faculty right there. And so they'll be, oh yeah, oh, she's volunteered the last 2 years or something like that. And it's really helpful, but that's a great pro tip to kind of go onto the social media. And also, for example, UCLA has a club for diversity and inclusion, and they do their own kind of service projects. You can look at the SNDA or the HDA and what they do, and just say, "Hey, I'm applying next year." You can reach out in the DM. There's usually a student running those social media handles. Is there anything I can do to volunteer to help? And then again, then you're making that connection with that student who has a connection with a faculty member and who can vouch for you when your application is on the table. Beautiful stuff. Great, great, great. Anything else?
Yeah, actually,
Mhm.
just a caveat on that too. Remote area medical is another area. There's a lot of dental schools that will work with remote area medical. So, and they have volunteer events all over the country. So you can tie in with there. I've met several young students at those events as well, even high school students interested in dentistry. And then one other thing to caveat on what Dr. Amable was talking about. So yes, at the end, it will always ask you. So I do conduct sometimes. I work with University of Maryland conducting interviews, and there will always be the question, yeah, do you have any other questions? And so all the ideas that have been given are excellent. If, however, you run out of time and it's kind of like a dead space because you don't really want too much dead space, a great question you could always ask is that, because that person conducting the interview most likely is going to be either alumni or student or current faculty. What was your dental experience like going through school? And then they'll get them talking about their experience, and everybody likes to talk, unfortunately, about we're human.
About
We
themselves,
like to
yeah.
talk about ourselves. So that's a great way. If you have any dead space, just ask that question. Okay, what was your dental school experience like?
This is great. This is great.
Also,
Wow,
sorry, one thing
guys.
I'd say is, okay.
No, finish.
Oh, don't
Go ahead.
don't obviously be careful what you say, but don't dive head first, because my goal on the committee was to kind of like put a little bit of pressure on people. So whenever someone would say, "Oh, I love kids, I love pedo, I want to do that," I'm like, "Oh, you love pedo? Yes. Okay, are you a part of the AAPD? It's free as a student member." "Oh, no." "Were you part of GCAS? You were here for 3 years. Did you participate?" "Oh, no." So be careful what you say. My goal wasn't to get you. They told me the goal we want is to see how they work under pressure. So another girl said, "Hey, I told you I really want to do pedo, but I haven't had a chance to be part of it. I would love to next year. I'm looking forward to it." She handled it great. The other one kind of like fell under the pressure that she felt guilty that she wasn't a part of it, because I kind of called her out on it. And I'm not expecting you guys to be members of it, but it's a good thing if you're going to say I'm diehard pedo, diehard endo. Be a member of society. Most are not, and usually it's free. So if you're a diehard something, also play the part. Say I've done this, 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 and that's why I'm diehard. Not I'm diehard pedo, but then I haven't done GCAS, anything community service about peds. Haven't even been in the pedo department. They will know. So inflate yourself, but within realistic. Be real about it too.
Yeah, and tapping, getting the resource, tapping the information that your mentors have about those type of associations and organizations would be helpful to know to make sure that they are getting involved. Wow, well, this was great. I want to just thank you all so much. Before you leave, oh, go ahead, Myrna. Go ahead. Yes.
Hello. Before I leave, you're all a wonderful group of people. Is there contact information that we'll receive in case we want to like reach out and like ask questions?
Yes, yes. So I have everyone's name here, if you had registered. And then Jen, I just don't have if you want to just email me so I know your email at info@diversity and dentistry mentorships, then I can follow up by sharing the link, presentation, and our contacts. I did want to mention, we are doing a mentor application cycle so that we could really walk you through a whole year. Your mentor can, instead of the ongoing joining, it was kind of be a little bit taxing, and we want to make sure that the mentors are not having too many mentees and they're not getting anyone's getting shortchanged. So if you have not been matched as of now, we're going to have webinars monthly going forward. We have the podcast where we're having great guests to come in to learn from as well. Don't forget about our Facebook community. Really, it gets active when a mentee asks a question. So anytime you have a question or something you want to talk about, you have access to 1600 dentists there. You can always put a DM, but we will do official matching again in June. So it's pretty much mimicking the dental school application cycle too. And another thing, and you guys are going to get credit, we're tracking which mentees are most engaged this year. So if you're attending our workshops like this, or maybe a few podcasts, and we hear back from your mentor that you guys have been meeting consistently, we're kind of tracking and we'll reward you because this year, our youth summit, which is going to be in October, we don't have the date yet. We have a meeting actually tomorrow or Monday. But we're going to make it a 2-day event where we're going to have the summit where you could come and get some volunteer experience and serve at the summit on the Friday. And then and this is in Arizona. And then on Saturday, we're going to have something for the mentors. We're getting credentialed with pay so we can offer CEs for them. And this would be great for mentees to experience what we're learning in our continuing education and broaden the network. So you have us multiplied. And then in the evening, we're going to have a gala where we might spotlight the mentee who was most engaged throughout the year. So does that sound exciting to you? That you get a paid trip to Scottsdale, Arizona in October and a hotel stay and meals and all that kind of fun jazz, right? Yay. Okay. So you guys are already getting some credit right now. So yeah, if you know anyone who's studying with you, trying to apply, let them know this is how they can engage until they get matched up with a new mentor. And thank you all for showing me grace with this whole teams. I'm sorry about the breakout rooms. I hope you did get some questions answered, but when I email you, everyone's email, if you need to reach out, we can definitely have another conversation. And then I know we're getting overtime, 5 minutes over, but I do want to give away some DAT prep stuff. Who needs some DAT prep stuff?